comes Haugo, slips out of a few tackles, and Peter Haugo's out for the races.
I'm doing up for the team.
Sheds the first defender, sheds the second defender.
Busted open. Jack Smith down the right sideline and into the end zone.
And good evening. Welcome to Varsity Sports Live, the only show in the region that goes a full hour and covers both North and South Dakota. I am David Brown, flying solo this evening. Jason Andera, like any good band parent, is watching his son Nathan's competition in Indiana this weekend. So best of luck to Nate and the Sioux Falls Lincoln Band. And of course, Jandy will certainly be back next week to break everything down for you when it comes to highlights and playoff scenarios. But everything is now postseason in both North and South Dakota. Regular season wrapping up for the big schools on Thursday, and now we have playoffs the rest of the way. Let's get a look at our scoreboards to start things. Lincoln locked up the top seed in AAA, 55-7 over Aberdeen Central. Game of the night was in Harrisburg as the Tigers sneaked by the Knights from O'Gorman 19-17. The Tigers are the 2 seed in AAA. Brandon Valley shuts out Washington 49-0, while Jefferson wins a back-and-forth affair with Roosevelt 28-21. Stevens tops Central out in Rapid City. The Raiders will be the 8th seed in AAA, while Pierre has no issues with Douglas. The Govs will be the top seed in AA. Yankton all over Huron 56-21. Bucks are the 2 seed in AA, while the 3-4 matchup goes the way of the 3 as T-Area tops Watertown 31-15. Sturgis Brown 46-14 over Spearfish. Mitchell shuts out Brookings to end the regular season 28-0. Del Rapid secures the top spot in 11A as they crush Dakota Valley 53-18, while West Central had no trouble with Millbank 64-13. Canton gets a solid road win over Chamberlain, while Sioux Falls Christian took care of business at home against Lennox. In playoff action, Tri-Valley over St. Thomas More 24-7 in 11B, while in 9A it was a 10-7 upset as Freeman Marion Freeman Academy topped Stanley County 32-28. And in 9A and 9B, we had some 12-5 upsets. Gregory over Hardin County Bison 46-14, and Gayville Vollen over Harriet Selby area in a thriller 34-32. So again, the lower classes had the first round of their playoffs on Thursday, but now everyone is in the quarterfinal round. So let's wrap things up with what was the game of the evening in AAA. Number 2 O'Gorman, number 3 Harrisburg. Winner would lock up the 2 seed in the playoffs. Tigers put together a nice 12-play drive early, capped off by this touchdown run from Sam Knuth. Harrisburg with a 7-0 lead. O'Gorman strikes back with their own 12-play drive that extends into the second quarter on 4th and goal. Maverick Jones just muscling his way over the goal line, and we're tied up at 7 apiece. Knights try to keep the offensive momentum going, but on 4th and 5, Max Elrod comes right up the middle, devours Hayden Groves, a big sack leading to a turnover on downs. And Harrisburg would capitalize. Josiah Hines can't catch up to him after eluding a couple ankle tackles. He is off to the races, 54 yards to the house. PAT no good, but the Tigers back up 13-7. Ensuing drive for the Knights. They would get stopped in the red zone, but this Ryland Satter field goal would cut the lead in half to make it 13-10. Clock winding down in the second. Harrisburg looking to increase its lead. It is 4th and goal from the 8-yard line. Sam Knuth goes to the back left corner, and watch this amazing grab by Braden Fieldy. First official says touchdown, but the back judge waves him off, says he did not get his foot in bounds. Take another look, really close, but officially incomplete, so it stays 13-10. Third quarter, O'Gorman finally hits the big play. Gross over the middle to Henry Theobald, and he turns on the Jets. 70 yards into the red zone. He just gets tripped up near the 10-yard line, but a few plays later, Bruce finds Satter, who reaches over the goal line. Knights retake the lead, 17-13. Harrisburg would chew up most of the fourth quarter clock on their drive, capped off by Hines' second touchdown of the evening. Once again, extra point no good, however, so the Tigers' lead is only 19-17 with 3.5 minutes to go. So the Knights only need to get into field goal range for a chance, but 3 penalties would absolutely kill their momentum. And on 4th and 17 with less than a minute to go, Bruce's pass to Theobald is incomplete. and the Tigers hold on to win a back-and-forth affair. 19-17 is your final. Harrisburg is the 2 seed in 11 AAA. O'Gorman is the 3 seed. And that means the Tigers have home field until a possible championship game at the Dakota Dome, and the players credit a spectacular defensive effort.
Our defense just came out here and balled. We knew we had the ball against this awesome O'Gorman offense. They have a bunch of athletes, but our defense had them figured out, and I think we had a really good game plan. Coach Donnelly and White, absolutely perfect game plan, came in here, and we wanted to win. We had confidence. We're hot. That's all I got to say is we're hot. We're red hot.
Red hot and the number 2 seed. More seeding up for grabs at Howard Wood Field. Sioux Falls Roosevelt, Sioux Falls Jefferson. First quarter, Ethan Swenson rolls right, throws back to his left, finds Ed Whiting. Beautiful play design, sauntering into the end zone, and the Cavs have a 7-0 lead. They would extend that margin a little bit later on the ground. Davion Simonson takes the handoff, spins his way across the plane. Sioux Falls Jefferson with a 14-0 advantage over Sioux Falls Roosevelt. But the Rough Riders would make things rough for the Cavs. Jackson Brower, the screen to Jackson Gravengood. He stretches across the goal line. It's a combo Roosevelt's seen a lot more of lately, and it paid off there. That cuts the lead to 14-7. And then the Rough Rider defense would take over. Manny Schmaus with some good yardage, but he coughs it up. Cameron Fennell pounces on it. Turnover back over to Roosevelt. And they would take advantage. Brower over the middle this time to Gravengood. Second Jackson, the Jackson connection. And we're all tied up at 14 at the break. Second half, Jefferson regains the lead. Swenson moving well, finds Jace Unzen. Perfect placement. 21-14 Cavaliers. Roosevelt undeterred. Brower to Jordan Cooper just across the plane with his body. 21-21. We are all tied up again. Fourth quarter, we've seen Swenson on the run. Here, plenty of protection in the pocket. Some great blocking up front, and he finds Jordan Detler over the middle, 43 yards. Jefferson retakes the lead, 28-21. Roosevelt had a couple of chances to tie it back up, but on 4th and 18, this Jackson Brower pass is going to be broken up by Damaris Fields, and Sioux Falls Jefferson wins a wild one, 28-21 over Sioux Falls Roosevelt. The Cavaliers are the number 5 team in the AAA playoffs, while Roosevelt is the number 6 seed. Jefferson had struggled in recent weeks due to injuries and inefficiency to put together a complete game, but they came darn close against Roosevelt.
Yeah, it was a good win for us. Obviously, it's always it's good beating a rival, and Roosevelt's, they're a great team, and there are a lot of buddies on that team, and it's good to beat them. And we didn't play our best game, but we got the W, so we'll move forward and focus on the playoffs now.
It was a great game. My first game against Roosevelt as a varsity player. Felt good to come away with a team win. I think we need to put a full game together. I think that was our best full game, but we need to keep going. We need to get healthy. Got a couple guys banged up. We need them back.
The early game at Howard Wood had 11 AA Aberdeen Central visiting number 1 Sioux Falls Lincoln, and the Pats would have no trouble in this one. Tate Schaefer finds his favorite target, Jack Smith, leaping grab in the back of the end zone. Sioux Falls Lincoln with an early 7-0 lead. Later in the first, Schaefer swinging it left to Isaac Jarowski. He sneaks just inside the pylon. 14-0 Pats. Second half, Lincoln firmly in control. Schaefer with the screen to Smith. Watch him bob and weave like a prize fighter. Beautiful weave between tacklers and into the end zone. And just for good measure, the Patriot defense was also excellent throughout the evening. Golden Eagle quarterback Parker Lemer is absolutely sandwiched by a trio of defenders, and Taylor Quinn pounces on the loose ball in the end zone. And Sioux Falls Lincoln wraps up a perfect 9-0 regular season with a 55-7 victory over Aberdeen Central, the Patriots' 5th consecutive game with at least 55 points. Yet despite all those eye-popping numbers, Lincoln quarterback Tate Schaefer knows they still have to remain focused if they want the ultimate prize.
We got playoffs coming up next week. It was a good last game of the regular season to stay hot, and we just got to make sure we don't take any steps back. It was a good game. A little self-inflicted wounds during the game, but we overcame it.
Out west, Rapid City Stevens and Rapid City Central squaring off to see who get the 8 seed in AAA. Cobbler strike first. Ryan Wedge the Jet, Janvrin 30 yards. Central with a 7-0 lead. Second quarter, Raiders strike back. Tate Crossweight sneaks it in. PAT no good, so the Cobblers still lead at 7-6. It's 10-6 Central in the third when the Stevens passing game takes over. Crossway to Luke Hanslick over the middle, 30 yards, 13-10 Rapid City Stevens. Same score in the fourth. Crossway, the screen to Cale Meisman, and he does the rest. 82 yards down the right sideline, and Rapid City Stevens comes back to top Rapid City Central. 23-10 is your final score, so the Raiders earn the number 8 seed and a date with number 1 Sioux Falls Lincoln next Thursday. Sioux Falls, Washington visiting Brandon Valley in the season finale. First possession of the game for the Warriors, Tommy Hoffman throws against the grain, picked off by Chase Leary, returning it into Washington territory. Great field position for the Lynx, and they would certainly take advantage. Gus Scott, great Scott, he takes it in, 7-0 Brandon Valley. Later in the first, watch Jack Thuey, he launches it deep. Watch this catch. Devion Bonwell-Whitty, one-handed in the back of the end zone, just insane. Check it out again in slow motion. Watch this right here. Call him Allstate. He's got plenty of good hands. 14-0 Lynx. Next drive for Brandon Valley. More highlight reel plays. Check out the dive here by Landon Delaney all over the field for the Lynx. And a few plays later, Delaney, well, he's going to catch it in traffic, reaching over the goal line. 21-0 Brandon Valley, and believe it or not, folks, Delaney, well, he wasn't done. Watch this on special teams, fielding the Washington punt, finding a lane down the left sideline, and streaking to the end zone. 28-0 Lynx at that point. And then after that, well, Brandon Valley kind of put it on cruise control, riding the Gus bus. Yes, Gus Scott has kind of become the featured back over the past couple of weeks. A couple of big runs in the second and third quarter for Gus Scott. 3 touchdowns on the evening. There was his second one late in the first half, and he would get his final one in the third quarter. And Brandon Valley pitches the shutout, 49-0 over Washington. The fourth shutout of the season for the Lynx. They earn the 4 seed, and they will host Sioux Falls Jefferson in the playoffs next Thursday. Moving to AA, top 5 showdown the end of regular season. Number 4 Watertown, number 3 T Area. Another huge night running the ball for the Titans. Keegan DeYoung, well over 200 yards on the ground. We're going to have a little bit more on him coming up a bit later, but we pick things up with T Area up 12-7 in the second quarter. Brenner Conrad, beautiful play action, so much so it fooled our videographer. Conrad kept it the whole time, trucking his way into the end zone from 24 yards out. Titans increased the lead to 18-7. Watertown had several opportunities to score late in the half, 4 chances inside the 10, but Spencer Winches cannot corral this one in. It remains 18-7 T at the break. It's 25-7 Titans now in the fourth. T Area with some great special team play. Ethan Miller with the excellent tackle on punt coverage. Watertown pinned inside its 10, but on the Arrow's first play after the punt, Winches looking to make up for the drop pass earlier. He does that and then some. 94 yards to the house after breaking through that initial line of defense. That cuts the T lead to 25-15 midway through the fourth. But the Titans put together a 91-yard drive to close things out. 51 of those yards coming right here by Keegan DeYoung. He is tackled inside the 5, but have no fear, he would finish off the drive with a touchdown, and T Area would take this one over Watertown. Your final 31-15. DeYoung 229 yards on 25 carries, breaking the school's single game rushing record. And like any good running back, DeYoung credits the guys up front for his success.
Getting a great push. Those guys, the Watertown guys, are a lot bigger. A lot of teams that we play are a lot bigger than our line, but they scrape and they dig every time. You know, they really get a good push every time. I run behind them. I think anyone in my position would have ran for that easily behind that O-line. So we kept pushing. That's what Titan football is, though. You smash them in the mouth. You know, you hit them with a bunch of jabs to the gut, and you come up with a big uppercut right to the jaw right at the end of the game. That's what we do. So that's the game plan every week. So.
Jab, cross, hook, uppercut, whatever gets it done. In 11A, Lennox visiting Sioux Falls Christian. No score in the first. Jacob Doctor with a pick of Boston Katzer, and that would extend the Chargers' drive into the second quarter. Cole Snyder gets it on the reverse, and he does the rest. 16 yards to the end zone. 7-0 Sioux Falls Christian. On the ensuing kickoff, Lennox, well, they're going to have a little bit of trouble fielding it. Just the ball. There's no rain. Just a little bit of butterfingers, and Sioux Falls Christian takes advantage. They recover at the 6, and a few plays later, Braden Whitty taking it in. 14-0 Sioux Falls Christian. Chargers would keep that momentum going in the second half. Johnny Skyberg takes the short screen and he does the rest, bouncing off defenders. He will take it 70 yards to the house. 42-0 Sioux Falls Christian at that point, and they would take this one 42-14, earning the number 4 spot in the 11A playoffs. It is the 7th straight win for the Chargers, and the players are keeping each other accountable when it comes to scouting their opponents.
A lot of film hours. Today we had our best film hours of the season, right? We had a bunch of guys with over 2 hours of film, which was just incredible, and just everyone working together, everyone getting to the ball on defense, and everyone just playing hard on offense.
When you study, kids, the 11B playoffs started on Thursday, 12-5 matchup featuring St. Thomas More and Tri-Valley. Mustang defense making a big stand early. Cavs on the 1. Lee Negebauer looking for someone in the end zone, but check out the one-handed, left-handed pick by Brody Dibvig. Unreal play to keep the game scoreless. Second quarter, Tri-Valley finally gets on the board. 38-yard field goal from Reese Smith, and it's 3-0 Mustangs. On the ensuing possession for the Cavs, however, they finally hit pay dirt. Negebauer on the run. He's going to find Peyton Young falling backwards in the left corner of the end zone. Extra point good, 7-3 St. Thomas More. And the Cavs would close the half strong. Less than a minute to go, Tri-Valley in the red zone, but Eli McFarland's pass is picked off by Kane McLeod. The 12 seed has a 7-3 lead at the break. But the second half would be all Tri-Valley. First, McFarland pushes the pile into the end zone. Mustangs retake the lead, 10-7. Then, in the fourth, Tri-Valley would put it away. Dibvig. You saw his defensive skills. Well, he's not too shabby on offense either. 37-yard touchdown run, and the Mustangs outscore the Cavaliers 21-0 in the second half, and they take this one by a final score of 24-7. Tri-Valley advancing to the quarterfinals as the 5 seed, where they will take on the defending state champions from Elk Point Jefferson. Great playoff matchups in 9-man. Let's start in AA with number 10 Freeman Marion Freeman Academy visiting number 7 Stanley County. Phoenix up in the fourth, but the Buffaloes come roaming back. Colton Brady, his 3rd rushing touchdown. Stanley County retakes the lead 28-24. Ensuing possession for the Phoenix, 4th and 5. Carter Weber somehow gets it to Evan Scharberg for a first down inside the 5-yard line. Couple plays later, Weber will keep it himself. Freeman Marion Freeman Academy regains the lead at 32-28. Last chance for Stanley County with about 2 minutes to go, but this deep shot is going to be broken up by the FMFA defense, and the Phoenix battle in a back-and-forth affair and win on the road. The final score is 32-28. They will head to number 2 Platte Geddes next week. Second straight trip to the quarterfinals for Freeman Marion Freeman Academy. In 9A, the 12-5 matchup pit defending state champion Gregory at Hardin County Bison, and the Gorillas showed the moxie of a champion. How about this backwards pass to Luke Stukel? No one's around him. 6-0 Gregory. And the offense would keep rolling for the Gorillas. Check out this left-handed scoop shovel pass to Gannon Thomas, and he would do the rest. 20 yards out. And how about Gregory heading northwest and absolutely dominating Hardin County Bison, a top 5 team in the media poll all season long, 46-14. The Gorillas will head to Canastota next week for the quarterfinals. In 9B, another intriguing 12-5 matchup. Gayville-Vollen took on Harriet Selby area in the fourth, tied at 20. Houston Hauge bouncing off defenders, finds a clear path to the end zone. 50-yard strike, Wolverines up 26-20. But the Raiders would answer back. Spencer Karstens sneaking it in. The 2-point conversion is good, and Gayville-Vollen takes the lead 28-26. Ensuing kickoff, Harriet Selby takes that lead right back. Matthew Neely gets through every line of the fence, and the senior gets his first career touchdown. The Wolverines are back on top 32-28 with 2 minutes to go. A couple of defensive penalties gave the Raiders a shot near the goal line, and they take advantage. Karstens to Hunter Webben in the corner of the end zone. 34-32 Gayville-Vollen with less than 30 seconds to go. Last chance for the Wolverines. Wade Grage gives it a good heave, but it is picked off near the goal line, and Gayville-Vollen pulls the upset 34-32. Just the 3rd win of the season for the Raiders. They are at number 4 De Smet next week. Well, plenty of action in South Dakota. When we come back, we will head up to West Fargo, join Jody Norstead and Carson Zark for all the North Dakota highlights when we come back on Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different. Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.
Welcome back, everyone. Carson Zark, Jody Norstead here to break it down. This guy, a former Wahpeton Husky, his team gets a win tonight to finish off the regular season. But hard to believe that this is it. This is it for the regular season. We got playoff football coming up tomorrow in the small classes. Brad Anderson and Chase Miller will join us in the next segment. But we get to break down the big schools and what happened here in this last week.
Yeah, a lot to break down tonight. It's crazy how fast it's already gone by. We're coming into the end of October. November is upon us, and that means playoff football.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like October, though, out there tonight.
It sure didn't.
High 60s for temperatures. Let's take a look at the scores around the state. A lot of these games played Thursday, including these two right off the bat. Davies goes to Bismarck, gets a win over Legacy 50-22. The Deacons, yes, it was a 13-point win, but the Deacons were up by 40 at one point in the first half. St. Mary's able to kind of fight their way back into it and make things a little interesting late. Keep rolling with the scoreboards. Minot able to romp over West Fargo 46-8. The Magicians continuing to flex their muscle. And yes, that's not a typo. Cheyenne over Mandan in a 9-man football type score, 70-49. You're going to want to check those highlights out here in a bit. Bismarck wins the Capital City Clash 41-6 over Century. Grand Forks Central, a thrilling 30-28 victory over Devils Lake. Ross Wilbur with the game-winning field goal. Big moment for him and the Knights. And Grand Forks Red River tonight, a 14-7 victory over Dickinson. So both Grand Forks teams win at Cushman on back-to-back nights. Wahpeton, Carson's Huskies 38-0 over Turtle Mountain tonight as well. And West Fargo Horace, this one was yesterday, a 40-6 victory to get a winning season for the Hawks in just their second year as a varsity program. They'll be heading into the playoffs. And Fargo North, we got that one right here on Midco Sports yesterday, 46-22. The Spartans finished the perfect regular season. And Fargo South tonight, 31-14 over Valley City. Highlights of that one coming up here briefly. That one was a good one until about halftime. South started to pull away. But let's get into the highlights. This one was defense optional. Good for the guys that get to do the highlights. Bad news for the defensive coordinators. Caden Olson throws one out here to Caleb Deere, who's going to slip a tackle. And Mr. Caleb Deere, of course, the former quarterback, he was a starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. You'll see that he made some amazing plays tonight as a receiver, 32 yards.
Yeah, Deere's transitioning into that receiver position, really paying off nice for the Cheyenne Mustangs.
And he's been flawless. Mandan the answer, though. Jensen Scholes, the one-handed grab from Hudson Sheldon. He gets into the end zone. These two quarterbacks continue to go back and forth. Olsen this time for Race Wilson. Good touch on that pass. And then Sheldon with the answer. This is going to be a great diving catch by Braden Bosch.
Yeah, Bosch really, just dives out for this one, able to control it through the ground to complete the full catch.
Always pivotal when you're catching those in the end zone. Back to the visitors. This was like watching a tennis match. Wilson, great blocking in front of him, 50 yards. He's got some speed.
Yeah, Race is racing to the end zone. He's been doing this all season, especially this game.
We have to show you some defense, right? Wyatt Peel steps in front of a pass from Olsen, picks it off. Might be the only mistake that Caden made in this one. Gets him an extra possession. They capitalize. Sheldon, well, where's the camera? Right there? Okay, I'll put it right to Mr. Tristan Umber for the score. 28-21 Braves. Next three big-time plays. A couple of Deer touchdown catches with a pooch kick recovery by the Mustangs, sandwich in the middle. Visitors take a 7-point lead. And forget relief pitchers. These guys are playing all 9 innings. Sheldon bombs away 69 yards to Ulmer again.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball downfield all night long, just throwing bombs over and over again for 6.
Then Olsen goes deer hunting again. Nabs him another 6-pointer here. That's 4 touchdowns for Deer, and Cheyenne leads by 7 again just before half. Olsen, yes, just before half. Olsen to Caleb Haas. How often do you see a quarterback pass for 7 touchdowns in a half?
Yeah, you don't see it too often. He wasn't finished yet. He comes in with a touchdown run, and he has another throwing touchdown to be had here this game.
Yeah, Cheyenne was up 49-35 at the break. There he's using his legs. Then he gets one out to Colby Walter. This one's going to end up in the end zone. Yeah, you guessed it. Again, not a good night if you're a secondary member, but 70 points on the night, a school record for Cheyenne. 70-49. Olsen smashes school records with 10 combined touchdowns. 8 through the air, 2 on the ground, rolls up 475 passing yards. Also a school record, Caleb Deers, 246 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Also school records. Boy, Cheyenne goes racing into the postseason on a high note.
Hopefully we can utilize it for next week. It was, it was a lot of big plays tonight, and this is how it happens sometimes. We played better in the second half defensively, but we just got to do. There's a lot of fundamental things we're missing, and we got to fix those guys up quick.
Just builds confidence for everyone on the team. We still got to improve and work hard, but it's just a big boost of confidence to know we can go out and do that, and just building on it every week, getting to the playoffs now.
Jeremy Newton saying, I hope that we can carry some of that with us next week. I bet he would like to carry maybe even just half those points with him next week. That would probably help. But this is a team that needs to contend with the Shanleys of the world. They know that they're going to need to score points. They proved something.
Yeah, they sure did. Putting up 70 points against a Mandan team that's no slouch. Let's remember last week against Shanley, they were fighting with them tooth and nail to the very end. They kind of blew the gates open at the end in Shanley, but Mandan's defense has proven themselves against good offenses this year.
Impressive night for the Mustangs. Well, the capital city clash, Bismarck taking on Century. Patriots have owned this rivalry of late, winning 7 of the last 9. Demons built different this year, though. On the very first play from scrimmage, Carter Hankey goes to work. His WDA leading 14th touchdown of the season. Bismarck goes up 7.
Yeah, Carter Hankey's a workhorse for the Demons. He's been balling all season long.
And it wasn't just the offense that started hot. The Demons' defense pokes the ball free here on Century's first play from scrimmage. They'd recover deep in Pat's territory. Just the second play from scrimmage. How about that Hankey guy again?
Yeah, there he is again. Goes rumbling, stumbling to the outside, breaks a couple tackles, does his best Derrick Henry stiff arm impression, races him for 6.
Carson, this offensive line is playing about as crisp as you could dream of if you're Mark Gibson. A lot of big dudes up there, and they all know what they're doing.
Yeah, they sure do. And this goes back to old style Bismarck High football. They like to run the ball down your throat and be a physical component to their offense.
It was a beatdown tonight. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. 41-6 is the final. Demons are going to be a scary matchup in the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah, they sure will. Good rushing attack, good defense. That's a lethal combo in the playoffs.
Well, this other team will be a tough matchup too. Top-ranked and undefeated Shanley's been putting up about 50 points per game. They were visiting old rival St. Mary's last night. Got out of hand in a hurry. Already up big in the second. Landon Meyer hits Jordan Leininger. Makes one move, then goes 58 yards. Deacons up by 40. Next possession, the reserves already coming in. Chad Pollock is going to get the carry, and he chugs his way up the middle. A 35-yard gain. And that will set the Deacons up again. Even their backup players play pretty darn crisp. 3 plays later, Jax Mattern is going to go over the middle to Carson Busick, 22-yard touchdown.
And maybe a little foreshadowing for what we'll see next year with Mattern to Busick.
St. Mary's showed some life late in the quarter. Sam Fedorchak rolled in and got a touchdown, but damage was already done. Shanley wins it 55-42, an undefeated regular season for the Deacons, and they will be the team to beat in the playoffs that begin next week. And they will likely play West Fargo next Friday at home in the first round. Packers were at Minot Thursday night. Second-ranked Magi, well, they didn't take it easy on them. West Fargo forced to punt on their opening drive, and it's a bit of a disaster. It's going to go through the 5-hole on the punter. Michael George is going to recover the botch snap. You can't afford those mistakes. Or make the tackle, excuse me.
Yep, you sure can't afford to fumble the ball in the opening possession like that.
Especially against good teams. Tyson Ruziska, 11th touchdown of the year. He also went over 1,000 yards rushing for the season. Here comes another one from him, Carson. He's not the biggest guy, but he's tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, and he's athletic too. Explosive runner who just seems to do it all for the Magi.
17-0 Magi when Beater throws the long ball to Caden Kraft. Now watch this one. It's going to be a juggling catch. Officials are going to rule it a catch. If you slow it down, we won't slow it down for Caden's sake. He's just lucky that they don't have reviews in high school.
At the end of the day, good hand-eye coordination to stick with the catch.
Minot finishes off the drive. Lucas Beater going to go to Logan Conklin. This guy was my preseason player of the year in the division. All he does is catch touchdowns. Another one here, and Minot cruises in this one, 46-8. As of now, it looks like they'll get Century next Friday. That'd be pretty fun, but Minot finishes 8-1 on the season. They have been absolutely dominant. They're going to be a tough team, again, like Bismarck, like your Cheyennes, like your Shanley's going to be a tough team to deal with in the postseason. Well, Davies has had an uneven season, but a chance to string together back-to-back wins for the first time all year, taking on winless Legacy. Sabres strike first. Isaac Mitchell to Kalen Lucas on the slant. Sabres off to a good start, get a little bit of confidence going at home. But what's the quickest way to answer a score? How about the very next play? Grant Chosick, the return. He's going to cover a lot of ground here.
Yeah, Grant Chosick responds well on the kick return, just burning the kickoff unit, rushing it in for 6.
Davies on its way to a season high in points. Gage Brewer spots an open Bennett Gerlach. He's going to outrun his hair here for the touchdown.
Yeah, you like to see Gerlach get in on the action. He's a blocker for the most part, but able to slip out through the defense to get himself in the end zone.
I wonder if he drew that out because of Cody Mauck. Anyways, the interception here by Chosick. Two Eagles win big, 50-22. They play solid defense, and they're just a team. If the weather turns nasty, they get even better. Zach Lilly has been awesome on both sides of the ball all year. One of the top tacklers, one of the top rushers in the EDC. Davies could be a dark horse potentially.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a team in the mix. Kind of those 3 through 6 teams have all played each other tough this year. Davies has kind of put themselves up with anyone in the conference, so watch out for the Eagles.
Let's take a look at some Class 2A football. Jamestown taking on North in a rematch from last year's Dakota Bowl. You saw it here on Midco Sports. North trying to secure a perfect regular season. Jamestown trying to get back on track. They've lost 2 of 3. Poor start for the visitors, though. They turn it over on the opening play, at least to 3 points. Max Watson, that's up and good. Blue Jays do grab the lead, though, here. Ryan Kallenbach to Nate Walls, one of his favorite targets, 24 yards for the school.
Yeah, we knew Nate Waltz was going to be a big factor in this game, and he showed it early.
North rides Peter Haugo in the second quarter. The school's new all-time leading rusher scores from runs from 48 yards and 17 yards. He is just so tough to stop.
Yeah, he sure is. This is why he is going to be up there for Senior Athlete of the Year, because he can turn nothing into something every single play.
And they even go to him out of the passing game here.
Yeah, you know, the offensive coordinator is being very creative in how they get Peter the ball. This time just slipping him out on a wheel route. He was wide open. Beats everybody to the end zone.
80 yards on that strike. Second half, North continues to pull away. Caden Rasmussen, kind of a back that can give Haugo a little bit of relief. That pushes the lead to 31-6. Jamestown fans get something to cheer about here as Kallenbach finds Jackson Jarrett and watch the tightrope on the sidelines here.
Yeah, a nice 67-yard score for the Blue Jays. Gives them a little bit of confidence and maybe something to build on as they enter the playoffs.
Spartans close the door from there, though. Haugo, the NDSU commit, with some more tough running, trying to stay in bounds as best as he can. And then at the end of the game, Billy Ward getting some goal line touches. He's been one of our favorites to call this season. A sophomore, a hammerhead on defense, and he hammers his way into the end zone twice, and North wins it 46-22. Spartans finish off the perfect regular season. First time in program history. They'll be the 1 seed next week for the postseason, but last night it was all about getting some revenge on Jamestown, who had beaten the Spartans 3 times over the last 2 seasons.
Going back to sophomore year, they beat us in the semifinal as my brother's senior year, so that one hurt too. And then last year, of course, they beat us twice, once in the championship. So we've all had our eyes on this game the whole season, and it feels great to finish it and finish the undefeated regular season.
We just wear teams down kind of all over. We played really well, offense, defense, special teams, and it was kind of a complete game. You know, they struck us a couple times, you know, deep and did what they do best. I mean, we know that's going to happen against a good football team, but all in all, I think when we go back and look at film, you know, the way that I feel now, I think we played a pretty complete game.
I think Adam Rowland had to be excited about kind of how the schedule shaped up. You played Jamestown right before the playoffs. You have a team that can't afford to kind of take a night off as you roll into the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially to play a team that you lost to last year in the state championship game. You know, Joe said it in his post-game interview. This is a game that they had circled on their calendar, and for good reason. So they, you know, kind of bullied Jamestown at times last night, and you know that's kind of the game that you want as you head into the postseason.
North flying high right now. Top 5 matchup in Class 2A tonight. Dickinson at Red River. The visitors strike first here. An absolute bomb down the sidelines. Look at Caden Krieg chase this one down. Stops and grabs it. He's going to take it all the way in. Dickinson with a 7-0 lead in the second quarter. Huge when you can jump off the bus and go get a lead like that.
That sure is. Coming into Red River, getting a 7-0 lead is huge.
Riders looking to respond before halftime. Pierce Parks to Hayden Hong coming across the field. We've seen Hong turn on the Jets before this season. We head into halftime locked up at 7s. Scoring still hard to come by here in the second half. Riders in the red zone, though. Parks, a bullet through traffic to Zach Elke.
Yeah, we know what Parks can do with his feet, but very impressive of showing that arm talent to fit that ball in a tight window.
And that ends up being the game winner. Just 21 points scored in this one. No one got 70? Like Cheyenne? Okay. Red River with a big win, though, here because it's got to be a good feeling for them. They've now won 2 straight after their mid-year 3-game losing streak, and they'll likely be at home next week as a 4 seed.
Yeah, we covered them midway through the season when they were going through that losing streak. So for them to get 2 games won before the playoffs is some good momentum for those Rough Riders to have.
Second-ranked South on a beautiful October night taking on Valley City. Look at that sky. Highliners in desperate need of a win to feel comfortable about making the postseason. Bruins ground game. Oh, check this out first. Yeah, a little bit of between the legs slam dunk. Bruins ground game gets going early here. Dorian Sadness with a 37-yard touchdown run. Man, I feel good for this kid because he went through it last year with injuries and now back there and playing really strong, makes it 7-0. Valley City plays physical, though. Christian Butler and Caden Almond combined for the sack. And then later in this drive, watch the breakup. You're a former defensive back. Ethan Miller, how about this hit?
Yeah, clean hit, too. You know, he doesn't lead with his head. He brings his shoulder in there, so it's a nice clean hit to add on to it.
Highliners score with 5 minutes left in the second. Bryson Heck to Derek Shape, who's going to get across. Ties the game at 7s. Bruins take the lead just before halftime, though. Aiden Hurst going to get the ball on the reverse, and everyone is fooled.
Yep, pulling out the trick play is late October. Halloween's approaching us, and the Bruins are doing a little trick-and-treating themselves.
14-7 at halftime. This is no trick or treat. This is Dorian Sadness with a little bit of an angry run.
Yeah, Sadness, he's a big guy in the backfield, and you don't want to get in his way when he's coming downhill.
Demarion Semenko is like Batman and Robin back there, and I don't know which one's which, but Sadness and Semenko had like 390 yards last week, and those guys are going to be tough to bring down. South pulls away for the 31-14 win to finish the regular season 6-3. How about Watford City at Horace? This one was Thursday afternoon. The first senior day for the Horace Hawks. They had their first senior class getting honored, and the football team, well, they were getting it done. The snap to Dylan Johnson goes through defenders, sheds a tackler. Hawks take the first lead. Next drive, Horace back in Wolf territory. A screen pass to Ty Garay, sprints past the sideline, and no one can get him.
Yeah, Ty Garay just kind of tightrope in the sidelines to go up 13-0.
Watford City on offense here. Judd Johnsrud absolutely heaves it, but it's snagged by Jackson Narum for the interception. Back to offense now. Taylor Stefanowicz throws the pass over to Israel Bauer. How about this grab?
Oh, wow. Israel Bauer goes up and bosses the defender. He was pumped up about that one.
Good toe tapper as well. And Horace goes flying into the postseason for the first time with a 40-6 win. They finished with a winning record as well, 5-4. Dylan Johnson, last week it was Gavin Olson when they got a 29-28 win over Jamestown. But Horace, a team that might be able to cause some teams fits because they're going to be about that 5-6 seed when the brackets come out.
Yeah, they sure will. I mean, they're coming into their second season, so they got a full group of seniors this time. A little bit of veteran leadership, too, to add on top of that. But Horace is going to keep themselves in the mix.
And the brackets will be coming out, I believe, either later tonight or look for them about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning on the NDHSAA website. That is it for Carson. I'll be back after this. We got Brad Anderson and Chase Miller joining us to break down the Class A and 9-man playoffs that'll be taking place coming up tomorrow.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Well, it's that time of year again. I'm thrilled to be joined in studio by two of the best minds in high school sports, Brad Anderson of 103.9 The Truck and Chase Miller here from your live event. Well, the postseason is here for Class A and 9-man football. For about the past 5 years, we've come together to preview all those Saturday matchups and offer some predictions, some good and occasionally some bad ones. It happens. Fellas, let's start with Class A, taking a look at the top half of the bracket. I guess you could call it the West Side. Velvet Drake Anamoose Garrison earns the top seed in its quest for a repeat as they host Bowman County. Shiloh and Bishop Ryan meet in a private school class. Trinity is the 4th overall seed. Will anyone threaten the Aggies, Chase, on the road to the semifinal round?
Yeah, there's a couple of teams that you mentioned on that parochial school side. I think Shiloh Christian's a kind of a dangerous, interesting team out west, and also Dickinson Trendy, right? They've kind of taken care of business respectively. Trace Englehart and Hank Bodine, those two guys have done really well for Velva. They've scored 40 or more points per game, but when you take a look at Dickinson Trendy, Jace Kovash, a really good quarterback this season for the Titans, and also Michael Fagerland is someone that you've highlighted a ton here throughout the season for the Skyhawks.
Well, let's jump to the eastern half of the bracket. Second-seeded Kindred hosts Harvey-Wells County. Hornets struggle down the stretch, 3 straight losses. Carrington Oaks is kind of interesting. The Tornadoes' 2 losses were to Central Cass, 7-0, and then Kindred, 21-0. The Cardinals, led by senior running back Logan Wenninger and junior quarterback Josh Bickett, have had a great year, but this is a tough matchup off the bat. Oaks has been playing great defensively, and seniors like quarterback Blason Dolney, Trey Skoglin, Max Wallach, and Mario Garza are all talented playmakers offensively. What has your attention on this half bracket?
Well, actually, this game right here, because Carrington's 6-3, they could easily be 8-1. They have that field goal that didn't count against Botno in week 1, and then they lost to Lisbon on the last play of the game. So they could easily be 8-1. They'll see how they bounce back from against Langdon. Oaks is very interesting because their numbers aren't real eye-popping. They don't really come off the charts, but you mentioned Garza and Skoglin and those guys. But I think the one thing that's really, you kind of wonder, are they going to be able to score against good opponents? They got shut out the 2 games with Kindred and Central Cass. So does it have to be a lower scoring game for them to go up north and get an upset and get a win?
Let's turn the page over to 9-man. This bracket, a little more geographically mixed, if you will, with how the seeds turned out. Sargent County takes the top seed into the postseason. They'll host Nelson County tomorrow. If they win, they'll play either North Prairie or a second-round matchup with rival Wyoming-Lidgerwood. That one should be interesting up in Rolla between those brackets.
Yes, Blake Madsen's had himself a great year for North Prairie. He's got over 2,200 yards rushing, and I wonder if that, with as big as they are up front, with the Tasted boys up front, are they going to wear down the Warbirds? I know Wyoming-Lidgerwood's pretty beat up, but Tyler Brandt's a real good quarterback too. And I mean, it was a tough loss to the Lobos last week, losing by 4 in a back-and-forth game. But North Prairie at home, but they've been so close the last couple of years to get into state, and you wonder if they're on a bit of a mission here to try and get out of what's going to be a very, very loaded 9-man bracket.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart by any stretch. Chase, we have some incredibly talented quarterbacks in this half of the bracket too. Javin Freeze, lights out player for Grant County Flasher, and then 2 really good ones in that West Hope Newburgh Glenburn Linton HMB Strasburg Zeeland matchup. What do you expect from that game?
Points, and some more points, right? It seems like every time we've talked about the Sioux, last year they played Divide County. What was it, 70-64 was the final in that game. With Broughton that they have back there, they're obviously going to be loaded for this year and next year for the Sioux. My biggest thing, though, with Linton HMB is they've been tested, right? You could argue that region might be the best region in 9-man football from, the top 4, top 5 teams. So the Lions with the pedigree, you don't make state 2 years, you're an 11-man, you go back to 9-man. Hey, what broke is not able to fix it up going back to 9-man. And for the Sioux, this is a team that made a run last year. They want to get to that Dakota Bowl and have an opportunity. And
it's going to be interesting. Walker Broughton, Gentry Richter, 2 standout quarterbacks. On the other half of the bracket, New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock nabs the number 2 seed. I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming into the year, but I think they surprised a lot of people. And same with South Border, who earned the 3 seed, both with perfect records. Brad, which of these 4 matchups do you feel is hardest to predict?
North Star and Lemoore is going to be really good. I think that Region 2 is very, very deep. North Star's only losses to New Rockford and to North Prairie. And the Lobos, relatively kind of a smaller team, a younger team, but they've gotten better as the season has gone along after they got thumped early on by Sargent County, but they've seemed to figure it out. That's going to be tough to call. Then out west, Hettinger County, Region 4 has been really good. I mean, a lot of state champs in recent years, some Kidder County and Linton and New Salem. Facing Alexander, a team in the first home playoff game since, 1980?
Right. Yep.
That's going to be interesting to see. I think Hettinger County kind of came on the map when they upset New Salem and they kind of nestled themselves into the playoff race.
Right. You mentioned it. A phenomenal story for Alexander. In the late 1980s, they dropped their football program because they didn't have enough kids. Then the oil boom sparked a return in 2015 to play 6-man. Now here they are hosting a 9-man playoff game, like Brad mentioned, for the first time since 1980. But Hettinger County, a team that is, you could say, on wildfire. Hopefully some people get that reference. The Huskies have won 5 straight, haven't surrendered more than 1 touchdown in a game since September 15th. They'll have to try to slow down Jordan Hernandez and some of those other Comet playmakers. That's a look at some of the Saturday matchups. Thanks again to these two gentlemen, Brad and Chase. Enjoy the games, everyone. More Varsity Sports Live after this.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.
And welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Dave Brown with you here from our Sioux Falls studio. And now finally, thankfully, everyone in South Dakota is on the same page. All 7 classes have reached the quarterfinal stage. So let us get a look at the updated brackets. We will start with 9B. The defending state champs from Hitchcock-Tulare take on Avon in the 8-1 matchup. Gayville-Valum, the team with the lowest win total left in all classes of South Dakota, will look for a second straight upset at number 4 DeSmet. Kadoka area, also below 500, travels to Falkton area, who had long been the top team in the media poll this season. And Potter County will look to upset Corsica-Stickney in the 11-3 matchup. Moving to Class 9A, Castlewood takes on Warner. The top-seeded Monarchs won the regular season matchup between these two teams 67-16. Meanwhile, the defending state champions from Gregory, they're the 12 seed. They're going to have another tough road trip as they try and notch a second straight upset at number 4 Canastota. The 7-2 matchup pits Dubrook against undefeated Alcester Hudson, and number 11 Chester will take on the 3 seed undefeated Phillip. In 9AA, the one to keep your eye on is right there at the top. Number 9 Hanson at number 1 and undefeated Parkson. They have battled in close games each of the last 2 regular seasons. The Trojans topped the Beavers just 16-6 earlier this year. The defending state champions from Wall take on Hamlin in the 5-4 matchup. FMFA travels to Platte Geddes in the 10-2 showdown, and it's a battle of 8-1 teams in the 6-3 as Elkton Lake Benton travels to Howard. Moving up to Class 11B, Aberdeen Roncalli. Boy, they got a tough task traveling the winter. Check this out. The Winter Warriors have not given up a single point in the month of October. Tall task for the Cavs. The defending state champions from Elk Point Jefferson, they host a tough defensive team in Tri-Valley. It's a rematch of a game 3 weeks ago, which the Huskies won on the road 24-14. Keep in mind, they were trailing that game 14-0 at halftime. Huskies score 24 unanswered in the second half on the road to get the victory, and now the rematch will be at Elk Point. Rapid City Christian, boy, they are getting hot at the right time, but they're going to need another great effort to knock off number 2 Dual. And in probably the toughest quarterfinal draw across every class, number 6 Hot Springs, whose only loss was to 11A Del Rapids in the final seconds, they traveled to number 3 Sioux Valley. Both teams were consistently number 2 and 3 in the media poll. They meet in the round of 8. In 11A, the aforementioned Warriors from Del Rapids will host Madison. Great 5-4 matchup with Dakota Valley traveling to Sioux Falls Christian. The Chargers' current 7-game winning streak, well, that started with a win on the road over the Panthers, 14-7 back in September. And guess what? We are going to have this rematch, this quarterfinal game, live on Midco Sports next Thursday from Bob Young Field in Sioux Falls. Chamberlain will travel east to take on West Central, and in a battle of contrasting styles, Lennox and its passing offense will go up against a formidable Canton run game. 11AA, number 1 Pier hosts number 8 Spearfish, while Aberdeen Central travels to Watertown in the 5-4 matchup. The Arrows won 16-14 over the Golden Eagles earlier this season, so we certainly expect another close showdown. Yankton and Huron will meet for the second straight week, this time in the Bucks' backyard. Meanwhile, T Area will host Sturgis Brown in the 3-6 matchup. And finally, in 11 AAA, number 1 and undefeated Sioux Falls Lincoln. They are 9-0. They've scored at least 55 points in each of their last 5 games. They are going to host the number 8 team, Rapid City Stevens. Remember, Stevens got the victory over Central on Thursday. Winner of that game got the 8 seed. Tall task for the Raiders, but at least they have an opportunity to play Lincoln. Brandon Valley is going to host Sioux Falls Jefferson in the 4-5 matchup. The Lynx got the tiebreaker to host this. These two teams actually tied on points, but the Lynx get the tiebreaker because of their head-to-head win, which you saw here on Midco Sports a couple of weeks ago. They topped the Cavaliers 34-6 at Howard Wood Field, and so the rematch will be in Brandon. Harrisburg in the 2-7 matchup. They're going to host Sioux Falls, Washington. If you remember in the regular season, this was just a 27-24 win for the Tigers, and it was a couple weeks ago. We'll see if the Warriors can give them another battle. Don't quite pencil Harrisburg in yet. The Warriors have shown some grit in some road games this season. And finally, the 6-3 hits Sioux Falls Roosevelt at O'Gorman. In the regular season, the Knights scored a school record 77 points against the Rough Riders in a 77-20 victory. But also keep in mind, Jason Dandera and I have been talking about this all year. Sioux Falls Roosevelt has not really had a full team. They finally have their full complement of players back, so we'll see if Sioux Falls Roosevelt can give O'Gorman any shot in the 6-3 matchup. Those are all the quarterfinals across all 7 classes of South Dakota High School football. Jandy will be back next week. We are going to break it down on Football Insiders, which will be on our social media channels next Wednesday. And then, of course, we'll be right back here in Sioux Falls and West Fargo for another edition of Varsity Sports Live. For Jody Nosted, Carson Zark, and the rest of our Midco Sports crew, I'm David Brown. Have a good evening.